Hi, I'm Dr. Bart, and well, I won't be a product management teacher for you today, and that's not the video I expected to do after, 2-month hiatus on the YouTube channel. Well, as you can probably tell from the title of this video, I've been laid off Microsoft, and it's it's 2 days more until I'm officially out of job, but I wasn't planning on making this movie. Not that I was planning to be laid off. I didn't plan to give you the full breakdown of the story, but given a post I did on LinkedIn that amassed a lot of audience and a lot of people came to me saying, "Hey Bart, thank you for sharing this. It really helped me. I really suffered through the same, and I thought that perhaps a video where I'll put a bit more details on what happened, how I reacted, and where do I go from now might help some of you." So, here goes nothing. It all began, I think it was on 14th of January, when I suddenly got an email invite to a meeting from my boss's boss, so like a second level, skip level manager, which was on one hand pretty weird. On the other hand, we were supposed to have a one-on-one a month prior, but that didn't happen. He was too busy, and then I just thought it's this missing one-on-one. But at the same time, it was pretty odd because it was like, very important meeting, please make sure to be there and prioritize your being. Like, okay. And I guess I figured it out ahead of time because I asked my manager and her manager whether I'm being fired, and it was like already the mid-season of big corporate layoffs, but they were like, "Nah, we don't know anything. Besides, if it happened, it would have come from us, right? So chill, let's see what he wants." I was right. When I joined the meeting and it was Wednesday afternoon my time, I was surprised to see a Polish lady there already. I'm myself Polish, and I was hired in the Warsaw office back then. So it was like, "Hello, I'm Bart from Skype, who are you?" And she's like, "I'm from HR." Oh God, I was right? And then it's basically a blur. I don't want to say I blacked out. I went through the meeting, but all I can really remember is that I was trying to hold my emotions back, and I still had to mute and turn off my video several times while they were reading a proposal for peacefully stopping the contract, whatever, like basically the severance package. Yeah, so that was on one hand a bit horrible because you are fired by two people you don't work with, you did not, grow with, suffered with, had your wins and loss. But at the same time, as I recall, it's not performance-based. It's nothing that I have done that led into it, and probably I can beat myself all I want and bring out the failures, the mistakes that I've done, which, they were there, right? Everyone makes mistakes. But I believe that there was no scenario in which I could just turn back time and keep my job, or they were very unlikely and I would have to go beyond I could have physically done. So it just happened. It was just that, and I'm not angry at the person who fired me. I'm not, I understand it wasn't his personal decision. It's not performance-based, and it was not even his call to make. He was told by higher-ups that he needs to meet a quota of firing people, and when the emotions went away, when all said and done, I think that my position was really the least needed as a product manager for video and like video call quality, which is absurd to say when you think about Skype, which is basically a video calling application. It's the heart of Skype. But at the same time, to bring Skype to greatness, I wasn't given the resources nor the focus to do that, if that was all on me. And there are many more things that need attention first and foremost, and video calling is not one of them, at the moment at least. I could tell you hours on what I think we should do with Skype, on what are the weak sides and how would I do my best to bring it back to relevance, to do Skype justice, but, well, it's not gonna happen. But coming back to the topic of me being laid off, it wasn't done in American style. It's not that I was given an email and suddenly I found myself with no access to any systems. No. As I said, it happened on 17th of January. It's almost the end of February, and formally I'm still Microsoft employee until Tuesday. Yeah. Anyhow, I got to say goodbye to all the great people I worked with. I got my final one-on-one with the head of Skype product, who is a real inspiration and probably the greatest manager I ever had. Sorry, other managers. And I got my closure. I'm very sorry for all of you from US who couldn't say goodbye to your colleagues, who couldn't congratulate everyone on the successes that you've had together, and couldn't do what I had the opportunity to do. I had a few projects that were outside my team, and I was really not happy, lucky to be able to fire out those few emails to people whom I worked with, to tell them I was laid off, I can no longer proceed with the partnership, and basically delegate it to other people in hopes that those projects won't go to waste. I put a lot of hours, a lot of effort into them, and I believe that maybe you are a PM or aspiring PM who's watching this video, who was also laid off, and who probably did a lot of great work that will never see the light of day, and you won't be the person who will see it through and develop after the release. I'm sorry for that, and I'm really sorry I can't no longer tell you about what will happen with Skype, because I don't know. But check out the new Bing integration. It's live, and just before I quit, it was starting to develop, so that's awesome. I mean, that's not a Bing integration, it's ChatGPT integration. So you, rather than go to the website, you just go to Skype, talk to the Bing bot, and it's the same experience that you would have with ChatGPT in the browser, just in Skype, and it's pretty awesome. I use it for a few days now to help me with my videos, to help me with my research, and help me with my posts from time to time. So it's almost a personal assistant researcher right now, but I digress again. Okay, so that's the past part, right? How it happened. Why it happened. Just like most of you, I'll never know. I can only speculate based on what I've heard, what I've read, that on one hand, it wasn't performance-based. So though I had a few bumps on the road, and even one pretty poor quarter where, due to many circumstances, my performance wasn't to the level which I even was happy with it. But it was already in the past. I already recovered. I already found the mojo I thought I lost. So I don't think it's it. Satya Nadella, the CEO, said that, or maybe it was it was this Google CEO who said it, but apparently the hiring was just too big, and myself and other people were hired for different economy, different predictions, and the quote-unquote end of the pandemic changed the situation. People came back to the offices, people stopped using all the e-commerce, e-tools that extensively, the spending dropped, the inflation got up, and apparently that's just course correction to make sure that the number of employees is justified by the economic situation. Very comforting for all the laid off people, right? There's also a more darker, more sinister corporate interpretation that apparently the stocks are now evaluated against the number of employees and profit. So if the stakeholders, the shareholders, look at the company's success in terms of profit per employee, the best, the easiest way to improve this parameter is to cut down the number of employees, right? It's easier than increase the profit. But anywho, I did like summary of my successes and failures in a LinkedIn post. I link it down below. I don't want to repeat myself. But as you now know how it happened, why it might have happened, what happened next. And this is something that I hope that will prevent you from repeating my mistakes. The first thing I did was, like, I think, go through the 7 stages of grief and just dealt with it in my head. But I still didn't avoid panic applying for jobs. Like, just took my resume, tweaked it a little, then tweaked it a little more for each of the applications I did, and just spent the first 2 or 3 days just applying to jobs. And I shouldn't have. I really should have waited and get some more peace of mind, better evaluate the people I'd like to work with or companies, and not put myself in a position where I interviewed for companies I didn't really want to work with. But the problem also here is that we don't have really the economy we used to have a year or 2 years ago, where jobs were available in all sectors, all companies, and you can just browse. Basically, FAANG is no more in terms of recruitment. That's the sad part of it. I think it's only Apple that didn't lay off any employees yet, but apparently they started laying off external contractors. So who knows what will happen after this video goes live. And the layoffs in Google, Microsoft are not done, and same in Meta, and there might be more people that will lose their jobs pretty soon. And no one talks about smaller companies, maybe saying that company X fired 50 people is not that impressive compared to what FAANG did, but still, it's 50 people who are now devastated, 50 people whose livelihood is in question, whose economic status dropped, and it's an individual tragedy for every one of you, every one of us. It wasn't the greatest experience for me. It's not the worst thing that can happen. Trust me, I think people in Ukraine know it best. I know that everyone who's suffering from serious illness will be laughing their ass out when they are looking into my apparent quite sad face, and that's uncomparable. And maybe find some it's a bad experience, but it's nothing that you can't recover from in the long run, and it's not the end of the world. everyone will experience their own failures in different way and feel the feelings, and that doesn't change the fact that it's a momentary bump in the road that you can recover from, that I'm recovering from. So yeah, I think I sidetracked a little again, right? Okay, where were we? Okay, I shouldn't have panicked applied. That's true. What I did good, at least, is that I didn't disclose my layoff to the world, or like too publicly too quickly. So at least I could put my thoughts together, do something that will then benefit the people who will hear my story. At the same time, I had a holiday planned, a vacation in New York that was supposed to be New York City, Miami. That was my wife's birthday. So, though for a person in Poland, that wasn't the cheapest vacation, we still decided to go through with it, to do something of a palate cleanser and regenerate before things really get serious. We paid for the hotel and the flight already, but so the cash wasn't. We wouldn't be able to get the cash back anyway, so we might as well enjoy it. And we did. The vacation was great, and you are not here to listen about how I enjoyed New York. But while having the holiday, I also interviewed, which was quite hilarious, I can tell you, because the time zones made it that the interview calls with the jobs in Europe took place at like 5, 6, 6:30, 7 a.m. my time in East Coast. So on one hand, it didn't disturb the vacation. On the other hand, it was a big blow, taking away energy at the beginning of the day. But I think that's where I realized what a mistake I did, that I didn't give myself enough space to recover between being laid off and finding a new position. At the same time, I always know that it takes at least 2-3 months to go through a long product recruitment process, and though the severance from Microsoft was great and would have sustained the family for quite some time, there was no time to waste, unfortunately. So, well, there is a happy end to it, and I have a new job lined up in April already. But at the same time, maybe I should have waited a little just to be better coping with it. As you can see, it's not fully coped even now when it's 5-6 weeks over it. One funny story I need to tell you. I'm not making this channel like lifestyle and all about bots, so you probably don't know that I moved my Microsoft employment from Czech Republic to Poland at the beginning of the year due to family situation. Regardless, to move my contract from Prague to Warsaw, it took 3 months of back and forth emails with people from different areas of Microsoft needing to review my case, apply, create me a new offer. It was probably hours, if not days, of cumulative work and a huge investment and a huge leeway, appreciation from Microsoft and Skype to allow me to do that. And after all that work, 17 days into my new contract, I'm being laid off. So maybe it makes no sense, right? It really doesn't sound like it's performance based if they were willing to invest so much in keeping me and then lay me off. Big corporate stuff. Okay, so that brings me to what happened next, like the final part of this very long video. It won't be too much edited, so anyhow, when we came back from US, I basically had my new job secured, and it's the offer I've chosen, and I'll make another video about the new job because it's another interesting history, and I have a lot of funny interview stories to tell at some point. But what I want to say is that sharing it with the world, sharing with my over 40,000 subscribers on LinkedIn that I was laid off, was an experience like no other. I didn't post about it until I had the offer, until I knew that everything I teach about landing a job as a product manager, everything I advise in terms of having a great resume, is being verified firsthand. I created those materials based on my experience, research, but there was a chance that maybe I said something wrong. Maybe there's something I need to improve in how I teach, how I try to make sure that you find your next job based on the materials I provide. So I really didn't want to use that nano celebrity status to get my new job. And instead, when I landed on my own 2 feet and I was reaffirmed that what I do helps others and myself, that I post about it in a way that I asked people who read my post to share any jobs they can offer, so that people who see the post and who have been laid off can benefit from it. It wasn't about finding a better offer. Never, no. I wanted to make this like an opportunity for others to accumulate and meet and see if someone will get hired. I also offered free resume reviews to people who were laid off, and since then I've done maybe 50, 60 of them. Some of them have second or third round. And if you were laid off, I will leave a link to my LinkedIn so you can approach me. I also do that for non-laid off people for a really small charge to just justify the time investment, really. And yeah. One thing I also did realize is that I didn't want to stay in Skype. That's just like this realization that you just feel after a while. And I know that probably what I'm saying now is out of order in the story, but truth be told, the week of my layoff, when all said and done, with all the sadness pouring from my eyes, all the strong emotions, Friday evening I was less stressed than I would have been normally after a week of work. Let me tell you, product managing a 20-year-old product with millions of users and high expectations is not something easy, especially when there's not enough people, in my opinion, to do what we were asked to do, and quickly and effectively, efficiently. And then, after the layoff, there were even fewer people. Jesus Christ. I mean, I often think that maybe it was for the best for me, that I was fired from a job I would have never left, and I would have never allowed myself to be frustrated and sad about, because it's senior PM at Skype. It's what people whom I talk to aspire to. It's other than like head of product, principal PM, yada yada. It's basically the end of the road. It doesn't get any better, at least for how I like to work with products, with B2C, with a lot of people using it, with mass data to look at how your product changes, how people react to those changes. It was at the end liberating, really. Though, again, it's Skype. I think I still would have liked to come back at some point, someday, maybe. I don't know. It's too much, and I don't want to think about it. But what I want to think about is what comes next. And frankly, those days helped me realize that teaching, posting, recording, doing courses is much more important part of my life than I realized. And I'm now having a month off before I start a new job, and I'll be working on that every day, even more than I would have worked with normal like full-time job and all the teaching, influencing stuff, just to do more what I enjoy most. And I also enjoy being a product manager, really, and it's like a cycle where I'm being inspired by my job to create content, and creating this content also makes me a better product manager, because I'm forced to do the research, forced to think about stuff, to provide you this information in a structured way that makes sense. If one of those elements is missing, I'm not complete. At the same time, it's awesome to be your own boss. That's undeniable. This influencer job doesn't pay enough, at least yet, to sustain the family long term and develop our dreams and ambitions. So the cycle of being product management teacher and as product manager at a company will remain for now. But in few years, 6, 10, I would really like to stop being an employee and only create stuff for you guys. If you want to help me with that, I've started Patreon, which got few people to my surprise, that stay on the channel, like, subscribe, follow me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Look at my courses. All the links are down in the description. But again, this video is not for me. I'm not here to share my guts with you on a regular basis. I won't show you what stuff did I buy. I won't make an unpacking video. I don't think I will ever do, or maybe I'll do sponsorship. Okay, if someone wants me to, please come. But no, I'm not a lifestyle person. I'm here to help you become a better product manager, or become a product manager, period. And this video is an exception, just because the original post got so much traction from people who needed to hear a story of someone who was laid off. And be prepared. You might be next, and I don't want to scare you, but I know at least of 2 other people that are prominent in the product management teaching influencing community that also lost their jobs due to the layoffs. And I think it's a quote from Nokia, you can do no mistake and still lose. And the layoffs that are happening right now are defeats for people who have been laid off and most likely did nothing wrong. There are stories of people who spent 15, 20 years with Google and got laid off with a smack, with an email, with no opportunity to talk to anyone, to say their goodbyes. I think I'm more angry about those people who have been laid off this way than I am with what happened with me. Listen, if you have any questions, if you want someone who feels the same thing as you do, just reach out on LinkedIn. I'm happy to chat with you. I won't be eager to jump on a video call. Sorry, I'm introvert and this takes a lot of energy to have a call, but I'm happy to chat with you there on LinkedIn. I did few articles on how to prepare yourself for a layoff, what to do afterwards, so I'll link those down in the description and give them to you personally. As I said, I'm happy to help you with your resume, with your next steps, and brace yourself. This is not a momentary thing. The more layoffs are coming. There will be fewer jobs, fewer opportunities, more competition on the market. So if you have a way to protect your job, by all means do that. Make sure that you can have a safe harbor where you can wait until the difficult times go away, and again we'll be on the rise curve and getting more and more and better opportunities, products every day. The world has changed. ChatGPT is not going anywhere, and who knows what will happen next. There are already new jobs about creating AI images, doing AI research. There's already a whole section on Fiverr for that. So okay, it's my next video that I'll do in a week 2 or 3, but AI is most likely not here to take your jobs. But the fact that it appeared the moment people started firing is a weird correlation. I mean, the layoffs happened before ChatGPT emerged, so anywho, let me stop the video here. I think I'm sidetracking too much and it's getting off the rails, and it was supposed to be a bit of a babbling, honest, directly from me video, so I think I said everything I had to say. Thank you for sticking with me for this half an hour, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.